So, welcome to the first ever TILTVERSE podcast. Would you like to give a bit of an intro about yourself so that we can get started?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Arjun. I'm a producer at Crytek. So, what that means is I generally support development teams and their organization. I own the timelines, deadlines, the dates, all of that. That's on me. I work very closely with the leads and directors while they're responsible for the quality. I support them with the timeline.
Okay, so you are currently working at Crytek, right? So you've been working for
This
how many years?
I think it's almost 4 years now. Yes,
4 years. Okay, fine. So now you're at Crytek. How did you get started in this industry, this game development industry? Yes.
Well, it was an organic this thing. I didn't really start with the plan. But in school and all, I used to draw a lot on my notebooks and things like
Okay.
that. So that's where it started, the interest, I think, and I used to obviously play a lot of games. So from there on, after 12th, I did a course in multimedia, thinking that, oh, you know what, this is related to games, and let's see where we end up. And that's how it all started. I think I kind of I made use of the opportunities that came my way, but I was always on the lookout for things in games. I kind of was very focused that I wanted to make games and didn't really distract from that.
Okay, you sort of stuck to it and you used your opportunities to your advantage, right? So you said you played a lot of games when you do you still play games or?
Yes, of course.
I mean, there is a sort of a stigma in our industry, especially related to me. When you get into game development, you sort of like fall out of gaming. Is that true with your side or
No,
is it different?
no. I still love games. Well, one of my, let's say, if I want to chill at home, I'm very happy to just, let's say, fire up a game and just spend a few hours with it. It might not be the game that I'm making or I'm contributing to in a professional capacity. Because sometimes you want to not do that, but sometimes I jump in and play a few rounds of fun.
Yeah, it is better to not to bring your work home, right? When you're like chilling.
Yeah. But in games it's not so cut and dried. Yeah, you want to play, you want to dive, and you want to when you're playing, let's say on a live server, you're anonymous. Also, you're not there as the developer. You're there playing as a player, and then you get to understand what players are feeling. So that's also good.
So you recently were a part of the DLC expansion, if I'm right, for the hunt, right? Is it a DLC or a additional content?
It's sort of yeah, we could say it's not quite DLC. It's an expansion, I would say.
Okay, expansion.
The old game was called Hunt Showdown, and now what we did was we wanted to upgrade it. It originally came out around 2019, 2018, something like that. And then we wanted to upgrade it a bit, and we wanted to add new features and things like that. So it's, shall we say, the next step in the evolution of Hunt Showdown. So even narratively, we are a year older from where the old
story started.
was set, and we also have moved to a new location or something different.
So there's expansion pack. How long have you been working on this single project? I would say.
Oh, it's very difficult to quantify. Been hard at work trying to get this out for quite some time now. So yeah, it's difficult to say really.
Okay, it's been a while, I'd say.
Yeah. There's we had quite a few interesting challenges that we had to kind of take care of along the way, and yeah,
That is basically what game development is, right?
Absolutely.
Problem solving.
Yeah, every. I don't think anybody, any company, anywhere in the world will say that. Oh, you know what? This is a happy little
No.
update. Everything went
Smoothly.
smooth. Yeah, it's
It
always
never happens like that. It is always issue solving that issue,
yeah, but
relaunching it.
that's also the shall we say, that's also why we are here, right?
Yes.
To solve those problems, to make things better. I mean, whenever you're pushing new technology, there are a lot of unforeseens that you have to deal with. There are a lot of unknowns that you will figure out as you go, and that's part of the charm of it. And
Do you feel like that is the fruitful part of your like job, like finally solving that problem? Do you find what is like the satisfying part of your job?
well, I think when the shall we say, when the release happens, and when you see it all, and when you see players enjoying it and providing their feedback, whatever it is, I think there's a tremendous sense of satisfaction, because it went from, shall we say, ideas or concepts in somebody's heads, and then the team got together and worked hard and made it happen, right? So when it comes out, it's a great sense of um, satisfaction, a sense of relief even.
Yeah,
But
I
then,
understand that part as well.
but then you move to the next
Next
update, and you have to keep.
Yeah, you have to like forget that part and move on to the next challenge. Like
Yes.
focus on that. Right?
Yes. Especially with a live game, I think you don't really dwell on it too much.
Too much.
To move on to the next one and the one after that.
Okay, so you mentioned games earlier. So was there like a game in your childhood that really changed your perspective on okay, games are different or opened up a new world for you? You played that game or changed your perspective somehow?
I remember playing Prince of Persia a lot, and I remember ending up at the last stage with not enough time to complete the game, which was super frustrating.
So if you don't mind me asking, which version, Prince of Persia?
The original Prince of Persia, the first one.
Sands of Time, if I'm right.
No. Even
before that.
I'm quite old, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, the original one that came. So yeah, which had I don't know if the later ones had the Vizier Jafar.
Yes, I think it has.
This is that one in which
is it a 2D platformer version or a?
Yes.
Oh, it's
platform. Yeah.
Old. Okay.
I was, I think, 7th or 8th, if I remember correctly, when I was playing that, and yeah, that really blew my mind at that time. Because you, especially at that age, you connect a lot with the character that you're playing. In a sense, like you're kicking under the table and you're trying to escape and things like that. So yeah, I think that could possibly be one of those sparks that lit the fire, in a sense. But once I was older, I remember playing Mass Effect, and that really blew my mind because decision that you took in the first game could affect you in the third game. And when I realized that they had planned it like that, I was like, oh man, how do you do that?
So the narrative was like changed after that game, I should say.
Yes. So have you played Mass Effect?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you know how if you let's say you save the Rachni Queen, I think in Mass Effect 1, then the Rachni actually become your allies in 2 or 3. So, or you have the option, and that option would not be available if you don't save her in the earlier game. So yeah, that really was a great feeling.
It was a new feeling, I would say.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And
any other sort of games like that?
There is a game that I remember which Crytek had developed long back, Far Cry, and it shipped in, I think, 6 CDs or something. And then Have you installed games from CDs?
I have like in the early stages, but
So all right, so you would
I can relate to it on a different level.
okay, so you would install the first CD, then it will say take that out and put
exactly.
the other one and things like that. So
I think my generation had 2 CDs. That was like the limit.
I don't know if it was. I don't remember the number. It was all so long ago. But yeah, and I remember playing Far Cry, and again, mine was blown because all the vegetation could be destroyed, and you could, drive the jeep into the water, whatever. Like it was not very linear, and that was like super cool.
It was like an open playground. You could do whatever you find, and as you're playing, you're discovering new things. Right?
Yeah. It. I think at that time there were other games. I don't remember, but I remember playing this a lot. So which is cool.
Since you mentioned Far Cry, one of the games that actually changed my whole perspective was Crisis. Basically, not trying to like say it because you are here. Crisis was a game that changed my whole perspective on games. It was like a different experience. It is still today a meme. Like, can it run Crisis? I don't know if it is still a meme inside the company, but it is still a valid meme. If it runs Crisis, it's a good laptop or PC, whatever it is. So, like, the first time I played, like, even from the opening sequence, I knew, okay, this was a different experience. The visual quality was different. I played like before the remaster came out. I think you worked on the remaster, right? For which were
Remaster 2 and 3.
2 and 3. So you basically were part of my childhood, even though you remastered it.
Right?
Yeah. So first time I played it, the first thing that really stood out to me was I could break the trees. So I've never seen that in any of the games. Like the trees were there, you could shoot them, nothing would happen. But in Crisis 1, you could break the trees. Even after they fall down, you can like kick them and move. And the water the quality of the water shadow, it was like a different thing. I would never experienced any games like that. So it was like a turning point, just like you mentioned, for me as well. So right now you're working at Crytek. So can you just go over what the producer does, like without giving away anything?
Producers generally over here now, different companies have different ways of approaching. So we there are a lot of very generally speaking, there are a lot of lot of gaps that develop when multiple teams work together on getting something right. So producers try and fill in those gaps. So they're responsible for example, like say communication between teams. Sometimes one thing needs to be handed over to another team and they have to do something and then send it back. And sometimes these things need somebody to own the path of communication. Otherwise, it might, due to general, shall we say, generally everybody being busy, it might get lost in
Since it's a multi-tier like system, you have to ensure that it is set up in that position where if a person communicates on this tier, it is heard in the next one, right? Is it like that?
Yeah, something like that. And also, if somebody's expecting something, let's say we are working together and you are expecting me to deliver something to you. So when can you expect it and all of that? So either you can talk directly to me as a developer and get it done, or understand when it's going to happen. But in some cases, you might not even do that, or you might not be able to do that because you're busy with other things. So I would kind of try to ensure that whatever is due to you on the 15th of September or whatever is due to you. It does
Make sure it is completed and it is like pushed or published. So that is your job role currently, right? So before that, for the 4 years, have you been working as a producer or do you have different roles?
In Crytek, I've been working as
the whole time.
Yeah. Okay. I joined in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic, and yeah, I've been doing the same since.
So you joined during the pandemic, right? How was it like working? Oh, you were working from home, right?
Yes.
So work from home culture was like not non-existent before the pandemic, right? It was there, but for specific reasons only. But after the pandemic, the industry kind of changed their perspective on work from home, and a lot of companies are giving work from home as well. So what is like your preference? Is it a good change, or is it faults in there, or do you prefer a different method?
Um, I think there are challenges in work from home, especially when it comes to mm, I think sitting together in an office and that kind of that vibe is not there. But then again, there are I mean, if in terms of focus time, you also don't get disturbed as much. You are like
Hyper focused on.
yeah, because so how we are handling it is we have a separate room altogether, which is like the office room, and so when the doors close, and
Yeah. It's like a studio time. It's
yes,
on air. Side is
something
on.
like that. Yes, so that really helps. Separate the two worlds in a sense. Um, I don't really. It depends on context to context and from role to role. How whether one is better than the other, and to me, it was not too difficult moving to work from home mode because long back. I used to, let's say, when I was studying multimedia, even then I would go back home and I would work a lot on my PC. So I'm used to having, um, shall we say, a set of hardware at home where things are all functioning.
You're used to that approach of working in in a space.
Yes.
Not only in office, but situated in your room.
Correct. It's a mind thing. So
You got over that mental struggle of working from home, because for me, when during the pandemic, it was like a bit of a mental struggle because it was new for me, and I had to like sort of build my way step by step into getting like accustomed to that. But right now, I feel like it's okay. But you had like this what do I heads up, or you were already prepared for this because you already had the setup, right?
right. And it was actually quite eye opening because a lot of the things that shall we say, I used to earlier think that this can be done only in office. A lot of that can actually be done at home.
From home.
You're not tied by geography anymore. One of the biggest pluses that I found was saving on commute time. So, in like previously, I was working in Bangalore, and there the traffic is a little,
It's kind of infamous.
a bit famous. Yes, exactly. So, and you compare that to the opportunity of making a coffee at 9:55 and being in time for the 10 o'clock meeting. That's amazing. I think, yeah, I really like that
work culture.
Yeah. For me personally, it doesn't matter too much whether. There are some pluses both ways. There are obviously some
negatives as well.
Yeah, challenges both ways, which you have to work around.
Okay, so you said after your 12th you went for a multimedia course. So can you just give a brief on your journey without like going in detail, just so that if a person who wants to get into the industry can try to mimic that journey, or try to maybe do something similar?
I would recommend not to follow this journey.
Okay, understandable. So if you're a viewer, please don't follow this route, but he's still going to talk about it.
No, I'll tell you why. Because see, the thing is, a lot of the decisions that you take, it's like a game, right? You shoot the guy, or you shoot the enemy AI that is coming on the left side in your game, and it makes sense for you in your experience. But when I turn up at the same location, maybe the enemy AI is not on the list, and maybe there is no enemy AI at all. So it depends on where I started, what difficulty setting I used, and all of that. So disclaimer is that you should probably not uh, follow exactly what I did. But I can tell you something. One quality, or one shall we say attitude, that helped me a lot in life is to be persevering. What I mean is, if I grab something, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how annoying it is, I will stick to it. Especially when it comes to work, because this is your bread and butter, right? In hobbies and all, I'm probably not so particular, but when it comes to work, I would generally not let go until and unless I have a very good reason to let go, and I usually don't find that good reason to let go, so I just hang in there. Um, so no matter what you do, I think it makes sense to upgrade your skills. Let's say, like I know from the art perspective, right? In a sense, I would say things have moved on since I worked as an artist. But like I know for a fact that if you are an artist, you should probably have an ArtStation page, and you should keep updating your portfolios there, because that's what will get your foot in the door. So possibly a parallel for coders is possibly GitHub or some such websites. I don't know. I mean, I'm a little shaky on the code side of it, but my point being, put your work out there, let people feedback it, let people see you being present in these online forums. Right now, the industry, as you know, is going through quite a difficult phase. So don't really know what the future also holds. So I don't think anybody can really say, "Oh, you know what? You do A, B, C, D, E,
You will get
and
the output.
you will totally succeed." Maybe that succeeded for me. Being perseverant succeeded for me, but maybe
I feel like that is a universal rule that can be applied to everyone.
absolutely, and that is so true. It's not rocket science. It's not. I'm not like showing off a new paradigm of life or anything like that. No, it's generally, if you want, or if you want to something, especially in a very competitive field like games, for every resume that, or for every position, shall we say, that you send out, there are so many
Requirements.
so many applicants. So you have to be really really good to even get looked in. But then after that, don't be shy. Apply to all of the big companies. Go to their websites, apply to them.
Yeah, applying doesn't really hurt anyone, right? So
It doesn't, but also be aware of your limitations, in a sense. If I've just let's say learned how to make a box in Maya or Blender or wherever, immediately I shouldn't apply for senior environment artist roles. That's on me.
Obviously it's on you.
Yeah. So that's a little exaggerated, but you get the idea. So the best part is, let's say, websites like ATLV or even ArtStation. They have a lot of information. They have a lot of a lot of actual industry veterans are out there. You can see their work. You can uh, visit their pages, see what they are doing, learn from the images. You don't really possibly need to go to a course. Courses help in a sense, but beyond that, you have to put.
Since we are on the topic of courses, I would like to get your perspective on, like, is a college degree really a necessity when it comes to this industry, or do you have to do something different?
Well, I guess, see, when I started, it was a different game. There were not many colleges offering degrees and all at that time. It depends on the course content. And even after that, even if you go to A, B, C, D, E college, and even if they have shall we say, a good, course structure and all of that, you still need to put in the hours after your coursework to upgrade your skill. Especially when you're young, you can spend that time, or you should spend that time to do it. Because as you grow older, you also want other things in life. You want a family, you want you want to settle down, things like that. So then balancing would be possibly a little more tricky at that time. Possibly. I mean, again,
number of responsibilities might increase. So
maybe. And again, I guess I shouldn't generalize with just age, because there could be people who are young and they still have a lot of responsibility. So
yes,
in a nutshell, you need to really prove to the other side that you know your work and you got the chops to do what it takes. And to that extent, if a course can point you in the right direction, it will be useful. But I don't think it's ever been a case of I've been from such and such an institute and I can join.
So you basically let your work speak for you than your degree, right?
Definitely, and I've seen that in a lot of cases. Folks would, and this is across companies. I know people across the industry who would usually take a look at the work samples first before looking at whether the CV has spelling mistakes or whatever. That it doesn't really matter. But if your work is really good, it is really,
it speaks for itself, right?
It speaks for itself. Then there's a basis to talk also, right? So it's think of it logically. Let's say I am applying to your studio, okay, and I give you some portfolio and which is completely unrelated to your work, and you are reviewing the portfolio. You would have that question mark in your head.
Yes.
Why did he apply here? Like,
what is this reasoning behind this?
What is the reasoning? Why? What am I going to talk to him about? Really, right? You on the other side, you have an application from me, the same me, but it's exactly the style of the game that you are developing, and I've, let's say, put things like this is how I've optimized the assets and things like then that okay, this looks interesting, okay, so let's talk. And then that conversation that you have in the interview can be on why did you choose this, why did you make this decision, it helps a lot. Because it otherwise doesn't really cut it in a sense. Randomly applying doesn't work. So
you have to pick and choose your battles and make sure if you're applying for a position, make sure your resume is fit for that position.
Yes, ideally.
It's like the basic thing.
You don't have to disqualify yourself everywhere, but don't also, apply to, say, roles that are not relevant. You can, but don't expect
it. Call back.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so since this is a podcast that is based on game development as well as games, any games that you're out like looking forward to playing? Any games that are coming out in the next few years, maybe next year, this year?
I'm like just recently they announced Civilization 7. So I'm looking forward to that.
Last week, I think.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that release.
Have you been like a Civilization player throughout?
Not throughout, but I've enjoyed playing Civilization 6 quite a bit. So yeah.
You're expecting is this a story based? I've never played Civilization, by the way.
No, it's building your empire through history.
Is it like a Age of Empires kind of game?
Not quite. This is turn based.
Oh, okay, fine.
Turn based strategy. You have the 4 X's, and you choose a civilization. So let's say I choose just out of the top of my head, I don't know, the Mauryan civilization. Okay, Indian touch there, and then I develop that civilization right from whatever BC to modern age, and
Okay, fine.
to on as they say, on towards the stars, that kind of a thing. It's quite interesting for me, at least.
That doesn't really my cup of tea, but I understand the
Yeah,
understand the appreciation you have for that game.
Uh-huh.
Any other games that you're looking forward?
Hunt Showdown, of course. Best game ever.
I understand.
I really like the tension it gives you. And when I started playing it, it was I used to try to save my character. So the hunter, we call it the hunter, and the hunter is dead permanently. So if you go into a match and you lose the hunter, that hunter is dead. So yeah, so I remember when I started this game, I would try to save my hunter, get shot once and I would run to the extraction point. Number one, scaredy cat I was. Yeah, but I've become a little better then, a bit.
So what is it like playing a game that you worked in? Is it like a different feeling, or is it like the same but you're just experiencing it, or is it a different feeling?
To me, I think it's fun playing it, yes, but I don't know if it's super different. It is different in a sense that there is history about the map and level, and I remember having a good laugh with my colleagues about this area at some point of time or something like that, which is I'm sure any developer, when you're doing, you have this shared history, right, of having contributed to it. But once it's out and you're playing, yeah, you one thing that is different is you do notice a lot of shall we say bugs in a sense. Oh, I must make a note.
Oh, okay. So when you're actually playing the game, you're focused on that as well.
I got shot and then I'm hiding behind a rock somewhere, and then that is not looking like it should, perhaps. Not a lot of that, but yeah, I like I said, this the game is quite stressful. Usually, I have my brain quite full trying to run away from whoever it is trying to kill. Yeah, so yeah, it's good. It's a tense game. Have you played it?
No, actually, I'm actually planning on playing. I was actually going to pick it up in the last weekend, so it was free weekend, right?
Free weekend.
I couldn't really pick up because I had a few other things to do, but I'm planning to pick it up. You've sold me the game. Interested playing it. So you said your overall career, how long does it span?
This December it'll be 20 years.
20 years. So if you are given like a time machine, this is an hypothetical situation, right? You are able to go back to any specific point and you would change something. You don't have to give details. You can be something. Maybe you choose a different position, or choose a different, or apply for a different job. What would you change, or is there nothing you would change?
There's nothing I would change. I'm like quite happy at where I've come from, where I was, and how I think about it is all the experiences that I've had, positive or negative or neutral, whatever. That's what made me who I am. And well, if I would have chosen differently, I would have been a different person. Right now, I like who I am. So that is due to all the combined influences I've had of all the lovely people I've met, of all the nice places I've worked at, and all of that. So I wouldn't change a thing. I think
you feel like your scars define you rather than take away from your character, right?
Absolutely. It's all good, right? yeah, if you were to, let's say, do these castle in the air calculations, you can think of, I don't know, oh, maybe I can do that. But I don't believe in that. Mindset wise, I think that's unhealthy because a lot of these things are not in your control also. So you do your best. What you can control is what you do, right? As cliched as it might sound, it's how you approach it and what you can change, what you can do. That's the only thing you can
In
do.
the end, you are the one making the choice, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's like you're playing your game, right? And you're going through.
Everything is a game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
the end.
absolutely. And like what we are having this chat right now, right? And this is also defined. This also is based on certain rules and the certain shall we say regulations, and we are in a sense playing a sort of a game for a particular purpose. So let's say in this scenario, I would see that this is to give let's say new starters in the industry a bit of a short of a bit of an
Insight. I would say.
insight into what might or a bit of an insight into my experience. That's all I can say. Really,
You can define it from
yeah.
yeah.
And it you ask the next person in the gaming industry
Will be completely different.
could very well be completely different, and yeah, that's life. That's perfectly fine.
Okay, so since you are currently working at Crytek, without spoiling any sort of games or breaking any sort of NDAs, do you can you like tease what you are working on, maybe next project or
Oh, we have a lot of surprises in store. But then if I tell you now, it won't be surprise,
surprise?
right? So I would
I tried, guys. I tried my best.
I would refrain from saying anything. But keep an eye on our socials. We are very communicative. The team does a fantastic job at explaining, being in touch with the community, talking about what's happening. So yeah,
Yeah, that is my weekend routine. I go to the Twitter page of Crisis 4. I keep refreshing it, hoping to see something. Because, as mentioned earlier, it's like a game that I'm really expecting to see. And I am really in love with the studio because all of the games that they put out, they have changed the industry. Talking about Crytek, by the way. So, waiting to see what sort of change the next game will bring over to the industry. That is why I appreciate Crytek.
yeah, yeah. I think very very unique take the company has on the entire industry. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's one of the attractions that I had for the company when I applied as well. But they do things differently. Um,
And it pays off in the end because right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, I'm quite happy. Yeah. So
Since we are reaching the end of the podcast, to the people or the young minds who are watching this, who want to get inspired, any words of inspiration for those people?
like I said, the one quality that you can inculcate in yourself is perseverance.
Perseverance.
Just don't let go. If this is what you want to do, then don't let go. And no matter what people say, no matter what um, the world tells you, really. But that being said, also upgrade your skills. So these are two things I would say.
Two fundamentals that you have to.
Fundamentals. You have to keep learning, and you will keep learning even if you join a studio. There's never a stage where you join a studio and you say, "Okay, I've arrived, and this is it." The moment you do that, you're dead. You stagnate there, right? So your general attitude to be of constantly learning.
Be open to learn new things.
Yes.
Unlearn new things. I mean, all things.
Yeah, things that don't make sense, let them go, because it's not helping you anyway. I think I've learned more now. I mean, obviously, at 20 years, I think I've spent way more time than school even. But the thing is, the point I'm trying to make is the learning never stops. So there's never a point where you know enough, you know, and you
It's
say
never
that,
enough.
yeah, you can say that, okay, now I'll put my legs up and take it easy. And if you want to do that at some stage in your career and future, that's also perfectly fine. But maybe if you're starting and you start with that attitude, then it becomes slightly tricky, if I might put it mildly, to get to where you want to go. You might not reach where you want to go. I'm blessed. I feel I'm lucky in a sense that I played Crisis 2 and 3 all those years back, and as luck would have it, I joined the company and got credited on this as well. I could contribute to these projects when they were remastered. So you could get lucky and have the next remastered whatever that you were playing. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's, shall we say, unachievable, right? But it takes a lot of effort and sacrifice even to get that.
So, to the people who are playing games right now that are running an older generation, maybe if you work your way through, maybe you can be part of the remaster.
Yeah.
And you
New version of the same
Yeah,
game. How cool would
yeah,
that?
yeah, exactly. So, I think that's about it. So, thank you for listening to our first ever podcast. If you like this podcast, make sure you subscribe. And if you have any sort of feedback to give, make sure you write those in the comments. And thanks again. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.